Welcome to this episode of Racing Dean, brought to you from Rowrah in Cumbria, a track that has lots of elevation change and overtaking opportunities at the chicane, the Stuart S's, St John's and the Paddock Bend as we close the lap. It's a really terrific track and it was the first time that I had been here. I actually spent 4 days at this track. I came on the Thursday and did some private testing, and then on the Friday and Saturday I did more testing, and we joined this video on Sunday, which is race day. We had all the seasons at Rowrah, so much so that my gazebo got battered. I had to use those weights to weigh things down. But here we joined the video on Sunday morning, and I'm just waking my cart up from its nighttime rest and making sure that it's good to go for race day. So I would be starting heat 1 in P8, right there behind Matthew Glazebrook, number 30. He's doing a lot of aggressive weaving, trying to get some temperature into his tyres. I would have 3 midfield starts, so something like a P8, a P12 and a P19. Over the line we go, and Harley Smith gets a bit out of shape and comes across the track and bumps into Glazebrook, looked like. So I've made up a few places. You can see down there on the left I've got the position counter. I will say that this is approximate, but roughly I'm in P5 right now. And I go wide at that corner, leaving some room for someone to get their nose in, but they don't manage to get the move done. And it looks like we've got some clean air and we're in a good position to have a great heat. So tricky coming through St John's into the paddock on cold tyres. This was an area where I would struggle throughout the weekend, where just the back end of my cart was very loose. But right now we've fast forwarded and we're a couple of laps later into the race, and I'm still on the tail of Harley Smith, and he is on the tail of Nick Barnes in the orange helmet there. So it looks like Harley's just about got the pace on Nick, so we can see here that Harley's right behind him and he's going to use the slipstream to get past him on this back straight. Very polite driving there from Nick, leaves Harley plenty of space, but he does compromise himself coming through those Stuart S's, and he's allowed me to get on the back of him as well. So you can see in the lap counter that I'm in P6, and that's because Matt Glazebrook did get through earlier. But if I can get past Nick, then that will put me into 5th. And we see that he gets a bit out of shape through the chicane and he loses momentum, and that allows me to get by on the inside. And P5 would actually be my best ever result in a heat, and funnily enough, quite a low-key race. Not actually that much happened in the race for me. So great result, but didn't feel like I had to work that hard for it in reality. Good job. You happy? You're not happy?
I just got no grip up there.
Oh, mate, good finish.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So it's like, fuck, yeah. I've got Angie up my arse.
Then Harvey was up my arse, so all of a sudden he was much quicker than me. You're flying that, like you just did.
I know, it's over the moon. So here we are in my second heat, and I'm starting P12 behind Ollie Smith. Everyone keeps it pretty neat and tidy through that first set of hairpin corners. Hairpin 1, fine. Hairpin 2, fine. And everyone's in great shape, but it does look like we've got a bit more pace on Joe Harris there. Congratulations, Joe, on being promoted off your novice plates. He's now not a novice anymore and has the selection of grid starts from the front, the middle and back like everyone else. But it does seem like we've got a tiny bit more pace than Joe in this heat. So it's all going to be about seeing if I can get past him as quickly as possible so that I don't become vulnerable to faster people behind me. And there's a mistake. Joe goes a bit wide through that first hairpin, and I'm going to have a look on the inside note, not quite going to do it. And another little wiggle there from Joe on the exit of that corner, so I'm right tucked up behind him. Am I going to make it through on this lap? No, not quite. But then another wiggle. Maybe Joe's tyres are too low pressure and he is a bit wiggly, so I'm going to see if I can sneak past him through St John's and make up a position into P10. So number 87 there is Anthony Cassels, and he's right on the back of that group and they're squabbling a little bit, so I'm just going to close onto the back of those guys and see if I can make up some more places. So this is nip and tuck. Everyone is just jousting for positions and it's really close. Like the leaders haven't gotten away at all. There's only about 3 seconds from second to 10th, so super competitive race so far. Going to have a look down the inside into St John's, not going to make it that time, and the pack is still really close together. We can just see at the front there that Brad Philpott he's just managed to escape a little bit, but still kind of 3rd through 10th, really close. Just a little glance of Matt Roberts there, who was gaining on me, and I leave the door open and he goes through it, but my plan is to see if I can just stick on the back of him and make up a few more places. That puts us down into P11. Someone goes wide there and we make up a place, so that was a bit of a freebie, to be honest with you, and it would be really interesting to see how Matt does getting through the pack that I was struggling to get through. So fast forward a few laps and I'm on the tail of Matt Holloway. We can see that Matt Roberts has made up a few places. He's further in the distance. Jacob Sharrock has also got past. He's about 4 or 5 karts in front, and this puts me in P11. I go a bit wide there. Little look behind and I can see that Army Phil Emplay he's just there, but something must have happened to him because he's a bit far back. So into the last lap, and it's everything to play for. This group is tantalizingly close. Can we do anything? There's a bit of bunching up as we go through the that corner at the top of the track, and now we're down into the final run through down the hill. It's close. And your big loser here is going to be Tim Kanziz, because he's just on the outside and I'm tucking in behind Adam, and we're just going to pip him to the line, just about make it through and secure a P10 in Heat 2.
I've just realised I've done 0 debriefs after each race. I've been doing very well.
I haven't. I've had a horrible day. I have 0 points.
Oh no.
Heat 3. This would be my furthest back start, starting in P18, and a lot happens in this race, so stay tuned. Like, when I was editing this, it was only then that I noticed what on earth was happening with those guys. There's one cart on top of another cart. I literally had no idea in the course of the race that's what's happened. Either way, for me it's worked out well, because I'm now in P13 and I'm just able to squeeze through with Ollie on the left there. In actual fact, I've got 2 carts on the left, so we're in a drag race to the corner. And I make it out on top, so I've got past Ollie there and I've got past Joe Harris, and now we are working through the back of the track, but still cold tyres, so St John's really tricky on these cold tyres, and then this other corner coming into paddock, very slippery as well, using all the runoff there, and we're going to see what we can do coming into this next lap. So we've got number 83 there. He had a bit of a wobble, so I'm probably keen to get past him. I don't want to get slowed down by his wobbles. Hard to know exactly what happened there. It looks like Oscar got like a bit sideways under braking. Maybe Paul just kind of nudged his bumper, I think. Then maybe I kind of touched him a little bit, by which time he was already slow in the corner. Doesn't seem to have impacted his race at all. He's come through that in flying colours, and I'm now doing my best to stay on the back of Oscar, who is a quicker driver than me, so I'm going to see if I can learn what he's doing and try to make up some more places. But currently we're in P9, which from a P18 start is amazing, and actually P9 is equal to my best ever heat finish to before this weekend, so I'm made up at this point and everything's looking fantastic. So we fast forward a few laps and now we find ourselves behind one of the KBR karts. Now there was an endurance race going on in Newcastle this weekend as well. Brad Philpott was racing there. I think this guy might have been, if not definitely his team were, but I'm able to kind of jump on the back of him and see if I can make it past him as well. So KBR, I believe it's his first time ever in a GX as well. I see he's got the same camera as me, 360 camera. and he goes tight, then he goes wide, then he goes wide, then he goes wide again. Bit of a kind of tank swapper going on there, and it allows me to get myself up enough on the inside to make up a place coming down the hill. Then 14 there, going really wide. Don't know what happened, maybe a lapse of concentration, but it allows me to get through on the inside, and I get through the chicane, and I'm now in P7, and I can just about see Paul Handley there in front as well, so I guess he would be my next target, but I also know that he was a bit faster than me too, so we'll see if we can make any inroads towards him and the group that he's in. The answer would be no. The end of the race would come and I would finish up in P7 overall.
What a fucking mess. What happened? Christ. I got 56 clout. Yeah? It bent it the right way. It bent your car the right way.
Okay, so the heats came thick and fast today. I was in 2, 3 and 4 and I finished 5th, 10th and 7th. And that puts me 6th in the A final. So today I've actually had 2 of my best ever heat finishes, and this will be my best ever final start. So fingers crossed for a clean race. I've got friends around me, so I feel safe, as safe as one can be, starting 6th in the A final. So wish me luck.
Good luck. Yeah, wow. I'm fucked, man. I'm gonna fucking shock it, dude. Well, fingers crossed.
It's quite funny actually, over the course of the weekend a lot of people came up to me saying things along the lines of effing hell, you had a good result, or effing hell, what are you doing up here? So we're starting off in 6th, and I know I'm going to be the cork in the bottle here. We've got Brad Philpott. If you don't know him, makes amazing videos. Check out his YouTube channel. He gets ahead of me. Also, Tom Angier gets ahead of me. I know Tom from Club 100 Days. We'll see a bit more of him later, but he's through as well. And then I've got another driver on my outside, number 48, who's Harvey Still. So unfortunately, I'm down in P8, and now, oh no, now Paul Handley has come through. So I'm now in P9, and this is just in the first 3 or 4 corners. So that is not the great start to the final that I was hoping for. But I always know that I'm gonna be around some fast people. So what can we do to keep a cool head and move forward at this time? I'll also say that my cam box ran out of batteries, so we're just on the one camera view now, which is the GoPro that's mounted on the engine, as 110 makes it past Ollie Greening. I think he was a guest this weekend, but he's made a position. We just see up front there, poor Angier, he goes a bit wide, he's on the grass, and he's still on the outside as we come into this complex at the top of the track, and he goes wide. He actually told me that he had pretty cold tyres, and he's had a disaster there because he's just lost 4 places in 1 corner, and I'm able to hang tight on the inside and keep that position myself. All the way through the final, I was having problems coming down that hill. Despite doing a faster lap time, that was where I felt most vulnerable in my car. I just couldn't keep the back end on the ground. It was just very loose. But these two guys in front, I'm going to do my best to hang on to them and feel like I'm still in the race. Paul goes over the dirt though, so he took loads of curb just then, and that's allowed these other two to get on the back of him. So now we're a foursome, and we are really tight together, doing the best we can to move forwards. And here comes Army Phil, he's just got through on the inside. Again, I know he's quicker than me, so I'll do all the best I can to stay on the back of him. And another place, this time is number 28, Lewis Jones has got by. So a couple of great overtakes on me on the inside there. So I'm now down in P11. So not great, but at least I haven't lost too much time in those overtakes. So Brad Philpott, he's not that far a front. So we're still in this kind of pursuing group. Those overtakes didn't totally crush my race, but something truly bizarre happens now. Look at that cart just off into the grass. I think, was that Harvey Still? Not entirely sure. Don't know how it happened or what happened, but yeah, just literally off into the grass like a bullet. Interestingly, at this stage in the final, some of these carts up in front do seem to have slightly different handling characteristics to mine. I see a bit more inside rear wheel lifting. It just looks like the carts are like a bit more on the edge, but kind of dealing with it. And just interesting to watch. I think that's maybe I'm just surrounded by more competitive drivers now than I was at earlier stages in the weekend. And Brad Philpott has actually fallen back a few positions. I saw Paul get in front of him, and now I'm actually going to let through Russell Endine. He was far enough in front. So just there I gave him a little push. Like I wasn't trying to like annoy him, I was actually trying to kind of help. I got a better run through the chicane, so I was able to close up on the back of him. So again, it would be my intent to try to go forwards with him. And then I've got Tom Angier on the inside now. He's making places back because he had that terrible lap 2 incident. So I'm very aware that he's beside me. So he just got a nose along front, but not enough to hold the position there. As we come down through St John's again into this tricky bit where I just always felt like I was losing a bit of time through there, and again the back end of my car just not having a great time through these high speed corners. As we come into the closing laps of the race, we're about 2/3 of the way through now, and things are still everything to play for. And this was a peculiar moment in my race because I've slowed down the footage there because I could see that Tom Angier was coming beside me on the left side, which was not the side where the camera is mounted. And I saw him there, and I can tell by this footage that I start off in the middle of the track and then I'm drifting left, trying to maximize the width that I can achieve for the next corner. And in my head, I left him a cart's width of track, but as the footage shows, I did not. And as I went round that corner, I heard a kind of like scuffling noise, and then I looked back and I was like, oh god, Tom's not there, so I essentially did cause him to have to take evasive action, and I'm deeply sorry. So we talked about it. I apologised profusely and gave him some chocolate covered pretzels, which seemed to ease the pain a little bit. But yeah, my apologies. It was one of those ones where it didn't feel like I was doing a bad thing, but on reflection I did a bad thing. So my apologies, Tom. I'm sorry to have put you in the grass, and I hope you enjoyed those pretzels on the long drive home. To end this video, I didn't record anything at the track because I had a bit of a bittersweet thing going on. Sweet because I'd had my best ever result in a race, but bitter because I'd compromised the race of a friend in the case of Tom Angier. But I did want to finish with something positive, and I found something positive in the data. So from my Alfano, I've downloaded the Heat 3 and the final, and I went about half a second faster in the final. And the reason is because I changed the gearing. I went up a sprocket on the back, so I was running 1978. And we can see out of all the big acceleration points, out of hairpin 1, out of hairpin 2, and the S's, these two karts, the orange and the red ones, are pulling away from that green coloured one. So that's all under acceleration, which means that that gearing choice was the right decision to make for the final. And the other interesting thing on the data, while looking at the data and the video, was I could see that the weakest part of the track for me was actually coming through the chicane at the beginning. And I could see that I often lost time compared with others there. And just in watching back the footage, I could tell that my best laps were the ones where I barely lifted through corners 1 and 2. So food for thought, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got this far, consider liking and subscribing. And also there's a link to the Alfano where this data came from in the video description below.